It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Alright, so I wanted to make this video. This is kind of like a video suggestion from one of my longtime viewers. So first and foremost, shout out to my main man, MEZBX, longtime viewer, always contributing to the live with great comments and challenging comments. And he's one of the guys on True School Sports that help keep your boy BT sharp. So I gotta show him a lot of love because he's the one that presented this idea to me. And I felt like, you know what? That's such a great idea that it deserves its own video. So I wanted to talk about this because I just made a video about Frank Sanchez potentially fighting Daniel Dubois and how I think that makes sense. But I also understand the business of boxing. I understand that Frank Sanchez is a very good heavyweight who on his best night is capable of beating some of the biggest names in the division. And there's not a whole lot of money in fighting Frank Sanchez. So I know a lot of times, a lot of these guys aren't going to be rushing to fight Frank Sanchez. That's just the truth. So MEZBX, shout out to him again, he had suggested to me, and he asked me the question of, he said, BT, you're in South Florida. You know the South Florida fight game better than anybody. What would a Luis Ortiz versus Frank Sanchez fight do in South Florida? As far as, numbers and things like that. And I sat there and I thought about it for a minute or two and I pondered it and I gave my answer. And I think that fight would do some really good business here in South Florida. I think particularly, you got to put it in a certain venue for it to be the absolute best it could possibly be. But I think, you promote it properly and you let people, if you make it aware to the Cuban community in South Florida that this fight's going on, I think Luis Ortiz versus Frank Sanchez at the Hialeah Casino, which is a venue where PBC has had a lot of shows in the past. I feel like the place would sell out because I've seen Luis Ortiz pack that place out for lesser opponents than a Frank Sanchez. But you put two Cuban heavyweights, so you're already taking two boxes right there. Cubans in Hialeah, heavyweights, casuals. You're taking boxes. Why they would come out for that fight. And I think that'd be a good fight. Luis Ortiz, it hasn't boxed since last September against Andy Ruiz. I was actually at that fight, so that was a long time ago. I was out in LA. It's been a long time coming for your boy King Kong. He hasn't really done anything since then. There's not a whole lot left for Luis Ortiz to do in boxing. I feel like he's made good money. He's fought the best. He's obviously been in some really entertaining fights like the Charles Martin fight, like the Wilder fight, like, Brian Jennings. He's very good heavyweight, right? But there's not a whole lot for him left to do. And with him being inactive, not even ranked, there's no way in hell you're going to get like a guy like Usyk or Hrgovic or any of these top guys, Fury, Joshua, to fight him. That's not going to happen, right? So I think the best they could do for Ortiz at this point is a nice passing of the torch type of a fight from one Cuban heavyweight to the other Cuban heavyweight. Luis Ortiz versus Frank Sanchez makes a lot of sense, Frank Sanchez is a guy that struggles to get the big fights at heavyweight a lot of the time. If he doesn't get those fights against the likes of Joseph Parker, Ajit Kabayel, Daniel Dubois, Otto Wallin, Joe Joyce, them kind of guys. If he can't fight that tier heavyweights that are going to be available in 2024, and even if he can, I still think this fight would do big business in South Florida. The Cuban community would come out for this. Fight. I feel. Hialeah Casino is not a huge venue, so it wouldn't take a whole lot to sell out. They know Luis Ortiz. They know Frank Sanchez. It could really be something big for the heavyweight division. And I want this fight to happen. And stylistically speaking, let's talk about that because that might be where that fight could be very boring, right? Because Ortiz is a southpaw counterpuncher. Frank Sanchez is kind of a guy who likes to weigh himself too. So there could be some dull rounds in that fight. I'm not gonna lie to you, but they both can punch. So if there is exchanges, if there is something, very, very, if there's an opening that winds up happening in an exchange between one of those two, both these guys have big counter-punching abilities and they can punch very hard as counter-punchers. You know what I'm saying? So I think it might be a boring fight, but it could also be really exciting. You got to remember, Ortiz hasn't boxed in almost 2 years. I mean, Ortiz now was pushing what's his age on paper? Because, his age on paper and what his real age is, because people say that Luis Ortiz is like 50 years old. You know, could be two different things. You know, his age on paper now is what? He's 44 years old on paper, so he might be 50. He might be 55. We don't know what his real age is, right? But he's 44. He hasn't officially announced his retirement yet. So if he hasn't officially announced his retirement, then I gotta assume he's still active. And if he's still active, I like him and Frank Sanchez a lot as his last fight in boxing. 2 Cuban heavyweights doing it big in South Florida at the Hialeah Casino, something like that. The Cuban community coming out, creating a nice, raucous atmosphere. I feel like it would bring out a lot of people. I bet it would bring out a lot of local Cuban celebrities and baseball players, and because I'm telling you, if the World Baseball Classic, the big tournament in baseball, showed me anything about South Florida and just Latin countries, you know, it's that they're gonna come out for, you know, any event where they can celebrate and support their culture. You know, when Puerto Rico played Dominican Republic down here for that was like the damn World Series times 30. It was like one of the greatest atmospheres ever produced in baseball history. So I feel like you get 2 of the biggest Cuban heavyweight names. I feel like you could even look on the undercard, put some other Cuban heavyweights. You got Lenier Pero, Daniel Pero. You got South Florida's very own Lorenzo Medina, who's proven to be he's becoming a more of an attraction, a guy that regularly, when he fights in Orlando, gets 100 people to go to Orlando. So if you bring Lorenzo to South Florida, you know, he had a fight scheduled here one time and sold like $15,000 in tickets. You stack that card. You make them 2 fight in the main event. You stack that card with the Pero brothers, Lorenzo Medina. I'm telling you right now, you got yourself a massive Cuban heavyweight extravaganza on your hands. And I'm telling you, people who organize that kind of event won't be sorry for it, I feel. So, yeah. What would a Luis Ortiz, Frank Sanchez fight look like in South Florida? Not only do I think it would do big business, I think it would actually have a chance to be one of the most exciting and entertaining nights in South Florida boxing history. Honestly, if done properly. But you got to do it the way I'm telling you to do it, or it's not going to work. You got to really, when this fight gets signed, it needs like a month or 2 of promotion. You need Cuban heavyweights in the card like the Pero brothers, and you need Lorenzo Medina. If you don't follow all the steps, then it won't be what it could be. So listen to your boy BT. This is a true school advisory tip, free of charge to anybody out there. The Louis de Cubas, All Star Boxing, PBC, whomever, the Zone, whomever. You know, I'm letting y'all know what could be done, and whoever takes my advice will be a very rich man. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.